Bonjour à tous ou bonsoir à tous. Aujourd'hui, nouvelle vidéo, nouveau concept un petit peu d'interview sur notre petite chaîne YouTube de la FEC, puisque on a décidé récemment de ouvrir un créneau de rencontres comme on a pu faire avec les rencontres Atlanta, les rencontres de l'équipe de France pour le WTC, mais cette fois pour parler avec nos partenaires, on va dire, internationaux, d'autres structures arbitrales avec qui on échange sur des idées, sur des documents, sur des pratiques, d'autres organisateurs de tournois ou organisateurs de circuits de sélection d'équipes, parce qu'on on échange au final pas mal avec d'autres acteurs du monde compétitif international. Et on s'était dit que permettre à ces personnes de se présenter à la communauté française, de parler de leurs événements, de parler de leurs tournois, ça pourrait créer du lien. Donc voilà, c'est une nouvelle expérimentation. Ce soir, on rencontre du coup Orfeo que je laisserai se présenter très rapidement et qui représente la communauté italienne et notamment la structure arbitrale italienne. Je sais pas si Immortus, tu veux rajouter un petit truc.
Vite fait, oui, donc effectivement, outre le WTC et le World Championship of Warhammer, la FEC est reconnue par pas mal de communautés pour son travail arbitral notamment et pour sa capacité à organiser des beaux events et beaucoup d'events. Et donc on est effectivement contacté par pas mal d'autres communautés, dont la communauté italienne et notamment Orfeo avec qui on a travaillé sur les 2 derniers, WTC. Et donc, nous, on fait ce qu'on peut pour les aider et et faire grandir la communauté internationale au global. Ça s'inscrit dans plein de travaux qu'on a en commun avec toutes ces entités, parce que vous verrez dans de prochaines vidéos qu'il y aura d'autres pays invités.
Exactement. Bon, ça va sans dire, mais je préviens tout de suite, l'intégralité de l'interview se fera en anglais, parce que c'est la langue internationale de Warhammer. On se débrouillera pour mettre des sous-titres. Soit on publiera la vidéo déjà avec les sous-titres, soit on la publiera avant pour nos viewers anglophones, et puis on mettra les sous-titres au fur et à mesure. On va décider de ça encore. Et du coup, je vais laisser Orfeo faire un petit peu la même chose qu'on vient de faire en italien pour que sa communauté aussi puisse avoir du contexte et comprendre l'intérêt de cette vidéo. So Orfeo, I just contextualized the thing for our French community. I will let you do the same in Italian for your own player base, and we will after that start in English for everybody.
Ok. Beh, sono Orfeo, lo sapete, osservatori italiani. Questa è un'intervista che mi stanno facendo Ioane e Clément, che sono due arbitri che ho incontrato al VTC lo scorso agosto. Sono due arbitri della FEC, che è la Federazione Arbitrale Francese, e hanno iniziato a condurre questa rubrica, credo iniziando da me, potrei sbagliare, meno male che non possono sentirmi, in cui intervistano su una varietà di temi, dalla selezione della nazionale al funzionamento della comunità, tutti i programmi arbitrali internazionali con i quali sono entrati a contatto nel corso del tempo. I guess I'm done. Way shorter than you.
It was quicker than me, in fact. So basically, we will simply talk about various subjects to introduce you and Italian community, Italian tournaments, and such to our French player base. So maybe you just firstly introduce yourself to our viewer. I will, or Clément, ask a specific question to develop your presentation, and we'll give you the speaker.
I will gladly talk about myself. It's one of my favorite topics. No, it's not. But yeah, so I got into Warhammer, I would say, 12 to 14 years ago. We have a Warhammer flagship store in my hometown, which is Genova, in Italy, which is 18 years old by now, I guess. The store, of course. The city is way older than that. And my first love were actually Dark Angels, which is a faction I've totally abandoned over time. At some point, I took a very long pause from the game, cultivating other interests. But then again, as ones do, you always come back to your childhood passions. And so I started playing again, I would say mid 8th edition, something like that. I played briefly in what I would describe as a very competitive. At least I tried to. Very competitive 6 months, and then I realized we were lacking any form of refereeing structure, overseeing refereeing structure, and then I decided that it was the time for someone to do something about it. I guess I sent you the preliminary version of an article I wrote on the topic. It was one specific event that triggered me into deciding, that pushed me into deciding of doing what we are doing now. But yeah, so I don't play anymore. It has been a topic while we were at the WTC. I don't play anymore, not in Italy at least. I visited French for one tournament recently, and I found it very, very pleasant, a very pleasant experience. Definitely will do it again. But yeah, I'm mostly a referee now. So
Okay.
that's my Warhammer experience in a nutshell.
So the competitive journey was not that far ago.
Yeah. One could say that being 30, 2 editions and a half ago, it's not that far in the past.
Yeah.
But when you say 2 editions and a half ago, then competitively, it's quite a lot of time.
Yeah.
So yeah, I still play some friendly matches, even though I'm not comfortable with that either, because as I already told you to, it's not something I enforce on other referees inside of the Italian league, but I don't like to play myself being the coordinator, because right now we are not as many as you are, and I am actually refereeing most of the big events that are in the country. And so I don't want to put players in the position of having to face someone who's usually the guy who tell them how to act or which rules have to be enforced in certain situations, and making mistakes, because it's a game and I don't play it very often. So I might make mistakes because I'm invested in the match and not thinking about how the game should work. And I don't want them to think about, oh, should I bring this up? What is this gonna mean for me in future events if I bring this up? Is he gonna be vengeful? It's not the kind of person I am, but I just don't want to put players in that kind of situations. So I just avoid playing it in Italy.
I can understand that. We will elaborate on the judge part of your work and of the law later in the interview. So, just for curiosity, in casual play, which faction do you play?
I am an orc player, which was my second love, my second big love. So yeah, I'm an orc player through and through since again like 10 years. I mostly play melee orcs because when it gets the time to play shooty orcs, I just think, well, I mean, it's just better to play Tau. But yeah, I like melee a lot. It's also the finest part of the game, especially when I started playing the second time. I mean, mid 8th edition. I was playing Genestealer Cult, and it was very. You had to be very mischievous in order to actually gain all the profits that were involved in the charge phase, and I liked it a lot. So I stuck with that.
It's more complicated and it requires a lot more of micromanagement than shooting.
Yeah, I've always been way better at micro than macro, so that's why I lacked what it was necessary to become a very professional player, because I was doing all the right movements and like engaging in all the right, what could one say? Yeah, in all the right, I was developing all the right tasks in the right way, but then again, at some point I lost the game and I wasn't able to tell you why, so.
Yeah, and the fun part is that charge phase and fight phase represent almost 80% of judge calls, so it makes sense in a way.
But yeah, I would say it's normal for a referee to like very convoluted stuff. Even when I was playing and refereeing Magic the Gathering, I always played this kind of very convoluted decks. In Legacy, I was a land player, which is kind of boring. It's like watching flies having sex. But yeah, it's all those sorts of decks that, entertain you more than the opponent.
Than the other player, yes.
Yeah.
What I was going to say. Yeah, I remember that you already told me that you played Orc before, and it makes sense that you had a good connection too with Ben during WTC because he's an Orc player, so I guess it makes sense too.
Yeah. He showed me his army also.
Yeah.
It's very beautiful.
And it's also always fun to notice that a lot of 40k judges were former Magic players or Magic judges. So maybe there is a thing.
Yeah, I would say that it requires a certain kind of individual to invest his time in helping others. Not that I'm saying something about myself; it's just a general like thought. So I would say that unless you change as a person, unless you grow out of it or you change out of it, you will always do your best in order to help others, regardless of the environment. So once I left Magic the Gathering for good, I found myself in Warhammer, and then again, I became a referee. Yeah, I guess that's our thing, I would say.
Yeah.
We have a few in France. We have a few refs when we recruit them. They say that they did refereeing in a sports association like football or rugby or something, or they did Magic. Or we have quite a few refs that are that have previous refereeing experience outside of Warhammer before joining the Warhammer referee.
Yeah, I guess it makes sense. I mean, you will always end up doing something for the community.
Yeah.
So.
And it will give me a very good transition, or one for Clément, about the Italian community to present it to our French one. If you want to take the. You understood me.
Yeah. Can you tell us a bit more about the Italian community, the size of the player base, how it views the events, lots of competitive or more like narrative fun events, etc.
Okay, so we are, I would say, and it's not necessarily a bad thing for the Italian watchers, especially tournament organizers. We are kind of a split community, meaning that we still have a lot of TOs that are doing their own thing. We kind of just started having tournament organizers joining leagues. It's a thing that started, I would say, a year and a half ago. But for the most part, it's just TOs doing their own thing again. That said, it's kind of good because in a way they cultivate their own communities, and in doing so, at bigger events, you can kind of meet people you haven't seen in a while. It's always very, very entertaining. I like it a lot. But yeah, it's a kind of a split community. So our biggest event, I don't know if I would say ever, but the biggest event I can remember has been this year's 2024 trials, which are our event for determining who's gonna be who's gonna make the cut for the national team. I guess we're gonna talk about that too.
Yes.
Which was 224 players, 8-man teams. So I know it's kind of small compared to what you have, I would say. Okay, you're making faces.
Many big team events in French. We have lots of small team events, and then we have big solo events. But I don't think we ever had such a big team event.
No, I'm certain that we have not.
Super cool. Haha. So I'm here. Ah, nice. Super cool. Now my ego is. It's not like I made it. So yeah. But yeah, so that's the biggest event we've ever had. And we have like a few, I would say 5 to 7 tops, big team event tournaments, which are 5-man team, which are always the same. They've been going on since some of them like 10 years, 15 years. So they are like, you already know it's going to be organized, let's say in August. So, you're going to book the weekend for that. And we have smaller events, which are single-player events. We don't have many small team events. Other than that, as I said, we are kind of a split community, again, not necessarily in a bad way, meaning that we are very divided amongst very competitive player and not competitive player, like not at all. At the national team event, there are many teams that are aspiring to make the cut in order to reach the WTC event in itself. But we also have some teams that take it as a way to meet each other because maybe they split apart some time ago and now they live in different cities. And it's now an occasion they have in order to meet, drink, and have some, dine again together as they used to.
Yeah.
So even in that very competitive environment, we have some teams that just come for the fun, even though it's supposed to be a super competitive event, which it is. It's just that even the room is somehow split into two different.
It's kind of the same even at WTC. Some teams in WTC mostly come to have fun with friends and drink beers, lots of beers, with other teams that they met a few years ago. Some of them are known for like their good, how do you say, good friendship and camaraderie at the table. They usually win the best sportsmanship each year because of that. So yes, even though WTC is supposed to be the most competitive event, some teams do come mostly to have fun and are not really trying for the first place. They know they are not gonna get that, and they are trying to do something else and have fun at the events, and it makes sense.
I guess that's the nature of the hobby. I mean, there are so many different things to enjoy about it that it brings together people that they are playing together, yes, but they might be enjoying different aspects of it. Maybe there are painters who are coming in order to showcase their painted minis to someone else, or maybe there's people who just want to enjoy the community. So yeah, it makes totally sense.
Yeah,
Totally makes sense.
It's also a good way to enjoy the competitive scene. It's not mandatory to be always over the top, to always want the first place. Just meeting teams from all across the world, meeting players, making new friends is a good thing too, of course.
Yeah. That's something I usually tell people is that when you go to an event, winning first place should not be your main goal. You should first try to have fun during the weekend and then try to do the best you can in terms of ranking. But if you had fun during the weekend, normally you had a good event.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree.
And in your events, do you have only Italian players, or is there some foreign players that come to your events?
There is one specific tournament, which is the TNC in Italian. So it's the TNC, in which we usually have a Swiss team, if I'm not mistaken. It's been a thing over the years. They usually come to the TNC in order to meet again the community. I guess their captain is Italian or lived in Italy at some point, and so he's the bridge that's connecting the two countries. At the IWR last year, if I'm not mistaken, they invited the Malta national team, which attended the event. And this year at the WIC, I hate all of these acronyms. That's why at the tournament we are hosting, it's just a name. But yeah, at the WIC, they invited a French team, a Swiss team, I guess that's it. And they both, in the end, they weren't able to make it. But yeah, we are kind of trying to get more involved. Over the years, it's been a thing, I would say, yeah, with the international community.
And in the other way, do Italian players usually go outside of Italy to play tournaments?
Yeah, I would say so, because there is this. I would say that some teams perceive events from other countries as more prestigious, because there is the whole trip being planned and teams from other countries being involved in the competition too, and making results against people you don't usually play with. So there is this sort of prestige aura in being able to attend an international event or make top the top of the ranking in a international team event. So yeah, some team usually attend the Alpine Cup. Some teams do attend events in Eastern Europe. I myself attended a team event in French with my local team, yes. So it's something we do, I would say, yeah, quite consistently. Some teams more than others, because it's quite the effort. So it's not for the faint of heart, I would say, but yeah.
Of course. Because there is
It's,
logistics to manage.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But it's really good occasion also to challenge your local meta, because
Yes.
usually, and we see this each year at WTC, some countries and some teams, they usually only play among themselves, and once they come to the international scene, they notice that some things are played completely differently in abroad, and so it's always a good occasion to see different ways to play the game, to travel.
It was 2 trials ago that Jay attended the tournament in a refereeing capacity. So I joined along. It was 3 of us, but yeah, one was Jay. And at that time, we were playing a lot of tetras in Tau lists. And he was very surprised by it, because it was like a nightmare. So Taus were playing as many tetras as they could, basically, over here. And it looked normal until Jay to me it was normal until Jay told me, what the fuck is going on with the tetras? I mean, back home, we don't play them at all, or not as much. So yeah, I see what you're saying. If I recall correctly, I guess it was the tetras. But yeah, I see what you're saying. It's refreshing in a way to see how other people play the game, and also being able to talk about it.
Yeah.
Just for those that don't know, Jay is the head referee for WTC, and he was refereeing. He has refed a lot of international events, including Italian ones.
Yeah, he's joining us at the next edition of the. I guess I'm translating the acronyms now. IWR. Yes, I guess it's that. Yeah, but in April. Yeah.
Nice.
A question I had: you already said that the competitive scene is mostly split in half, so I guess there is no a broad consistency in the rule packs. Are a lot of tournaments comply to the WTC rule pack, or is it some different, much locally things?
Most of them do comply with the WTC. Yeah, I would say the vast majority. Okay. So there is this league which is mostly taking place in southern Italy, which is Conquest, of which I honestly know I would not nothing about, because I attended some events. But yeah, it's very localized, I would say, if I'm not mistaken. Again, I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. And they play GW's rule packs very consistently. They take it to the heart as a point of they make a pride out of it. There's nothing wrong. But yeah, let's say I would say central northern Italy, it's WTC all the way. Like all team events are WTC, of course, and most single player events are played with WTC rule packs too. Okay. Because again, I would say that the whole year is this rising crescendo of expectation, because you are approaching the team event, the national team event. And so every team event during the year is part of this rising crescendo of teams making the best in order to make the cut, in order to get the national team. So yeah, I would say it's mostly WTC.
Okay, I was asking the question because in France it's only or 99% WTC rule pack for almost every event, and in the eventuality of French player wanting to play tournaments in Italy, it's good to know that the rules are the same.
Okay, so I wouldn't go as far as to say that it's 99% WTC, but I guess it would be a good. I guess it's like 75.
Yeah.
So I guess that's a safe bet.
Yeah, so a good chance of compatibility.
Yeah. In northern Italy, almost 99%. Yeah, I would say so.
Cool.
Just a quick thing about this. Nowadays, WTC and GW rules are pretty much the same.
Yeah,
There
mostly.
are a
Yeah.
few exceptions, like charging through walls, and I think charging through walls is maybe the
the command reroll stuff, I would say it's pretty.
Yeah, but most of the rules are exactly the same right now.
The main thing is the tables. For Italian players, the main thing is the layouts of the tables that makes them choose one way or the other. So some organizers decide to stick with GWs because, I don't know, maybe they like it more, maybe they think it's the true way of playing. Everybody has their reasons. But I would say that like most of the biggest reason of them all, it's the table layouts.
Yeah. We saw that at World Championship of Warhammer. The French group was not very used to playing those tables, and it
showed.
was. I was gonna try and be nice to the players, but yeah, we were not really prepared for the terrain.
Okay. But yeah, final answer. I lock it in then once I'm done with this. Out of, let's say, 20 events I attend as a referee in a year, 2 to 3 are GWs and the others are WTCs.
Okay.
I'm not the only ref out there, but yeah, that's my experience.
Yeah.
And now, without any good transition, we mentioned a few times the selection process for Team Italia to WTC. Can you tell us more about it and how it works?
Okay, so as I already said, we have I would say, quite engaging, speaking about the sheer number of tournaments, quite engaging tournament season, which eventually it will lead up to the Winter Italian Trials, which is our main WTC event, for which all the players are kind of preparing themselves during the season in one way or the other. And again, we hit 224 players, if I'm not mistaken, last edition. And how it works is that the team that wins the I consulted the captain before answering this way because I don't want to make mistakes. I never even came close to making it when I was playing, so I really had no idea. But yeah, the team that wins the tournament gets to vote who the captain will be, and then the captain, talking to other captains from teams that conducted a season in a very virtuous way, both from sportsmanship perspective and from a competitive perspective, and they decide who the national team is going to be. Yeah, which players will make the cut.
Okay, so
it's very different from what you have, I heard.
We have a complicated and heavy system, yeah, indeed, but the finality is almost the same because you elect a captain, and this captain will be able to pick the best players possible, either on sportsmanship and competitive result, as you said, to build the team.
Okay.
Our process is just longer, but the finality is basically the same, because we have a special event at the end of the season that the 4 best teams in France can attend, and the winning team is elected captain of the French WTC team.
It's not an election. The captain of a winning team is designated captain of a French team.
I had not the best word for it, but yeah.
But yeah, no, I totally understood. So what
do the winning team, when they elect the captain of Team Italia, do they choose from only their own team members, or they can choose anyone to be the
not necessarily. So they are able to elect the captain. In recent year, it has been their captain, out of merit, I would say, because they are winning everything they touch in Italy. So definitely out of merit. But yeah, they would be able to vote for anyone, I would say. It doesn't occur me an occasion in which it happened, but I would say it's possible.
When is the event compared to WTC?
It's in winter, so
It was November last year.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you were there.
Yes.
I'm counting on you.
And the t-shirt.
Yeah. So yeah, it's basically one of the last tournaments we have for the tournament season. Yeah. So that's why I refer to the year as a rising crescendo.
And so that leaves plenty of time for the captain to select his team for WTC.
Yeah. Also, selecting players in the first half of the new tournament season, seeing how they perform, maybe making strategies together. So I was never involved in that process because I wasn't strong enough. But yeah, I would say that's probably how it works.
Okay.
So what I really like about your system is that it's challenging. So I know you are divided in leagues, and that's I would find it very engaging, having different steps to aspire reaching. What I like about our system is that it creates this very big event that by now it lives by itself, I would say. So people attend to it because it's the Winter Italian Trials.
Yeah.
And it brings the community together. So I would say there's good in both systems.
Yeah, yours is a super event, and our system is more a progressive one. But
Yeah.
both are good if it suits the community. If it works. You already mentioned that you are a referee in Italy. Sorry.
Both are correct. So
yeah, indeed. And we know that you are building. It's already built, but it expand program for referees. Can you talk about it? Explain to us why you became a judge.
Yes.
Firstly, and how the judge culture and the judge system is growing in Italy.
Of course, yes, I will gladly answer. So I started refereeing in 2021, and I started refereeing by myself, I would say. So I wasn't aiming to build anything that looks like what law is now. But yeah, I started refereeing in 2021. My first ever event was that year's Italian Trials. So one could say it was kind of a bloodbath as a first tournament. But yeah, I liked it a lot. It was very stressful, and that's the best way to start a project, I would say. I became a referee because at one specific event, I perceived that some players received a very poor service, and being invested in the event itself, because it was the first I was attending as a player after a brief pause. I wanted for my teammates and all other players at the event to have a good experience. So when this happened, when I perceived some players were receiving a poor service, I decided that I wanted to do something about it, and I became a referee. So again, my first first event I've ever refereed was that year's Italian Trials, which I found super nice. It was a very good start. And over time, I started refereeing more and more events. And at some point, my calendar was so booked that I couldn't even get out one weekend with my girlfriend. So I thought that maybe some other people would be interested in joining the effort. And that's how the league started. So we are a third-party entity that's not associated with any tournament organizer, even though some tournament organizers who are part of the, it's called War Master GT ITA, something like that. I would say it's that's the name. Yeah, they helped us in growing in the first place, because the first two other referees who joined the league came from two of the communities who were joining in efforts in order to make their playing league happen. But yeah, so that's how it started. Now we are 6, of which 2 are being trained right now, which is like a tenth of what you are in size, if I recall correctly, which is always very imposing. But yeah, we have a 4-level system in which you become a level 0 one at the time in which you ask to join the program. At that point, you are trained, you are assigned to a superior officer, let's call it that, who trains you over the course of 4 tournaments. And then you take a test, and then you referee a tournament under the tutelage of said responsible of said officer. If you make the cut, you become a level 1, and that's level 1, 2, and 3, which have different powers and special, let's say, it branches a lot.
Yeah.
Because it's not only being a level 2, you can be a writer for the website, or you can be a community manager. We tried to build a system that will outlast us, meaning that I don't know when I'm going to stop. So I tried to build it in a way in which it's already serviceable, even when it's going to scale.
Yeah.
So even though right now talking about community manager sounds stupid because we have 6, again, I tried to make it work in a way in which someone inheriting the program will have to do basically nothing in order to maintain it. But yeah, that's basically it.
It's more stable this way.
Yeah, most of the work is already done, I would say, yeah. And so over the years, we became partner with I would say, 8 different tournament organizers. And yeah, we are refereeing most of the events. We just started refereeing smaller events. Last Sunday, I was at a tournament in Savona, which is near my hometown, and they were 28 players. We started refereeing bigger events, and then we got smaller. I guess that's not how it's supposed to be, but yeah, that's the way we did it.
It could because my next question was about the referee culture. Are TOs interested in referees? Because it's something in France that we built during many years, during a lot of time. Now it's almost automatic to have a referee during a tournament, even a tournament that is not in our national team league or single league, just a simple event will ask for a referee. So it's set in France now, but I guess that it's something quite new in Italy. And those how the TO did respond to the creation of a referee system.
So, to the best of my knowledge, this is the first organized effort to bring referees at events under the same flag in Italy. So, I might be wrong, but let's say that to the best of my knowledge, in the last 10 years, this is the first time it's being made. So, answering your question more specifically, there is no referee culture, I would say. Over the last 3 years, we made very big progresses. But at first, calling a referee at your table was perceived as unsportsmanlike.
Yeah.
So players would refrain from calling referees at the tables. We made big efforts in order to change the perception about it, because it's a service you pay for. We are here in order to help you guys handle situations that might be out of your reach. We are here in order to support you in corners that might be too narrow for you to really get the rules right. So we are here for you, basically, and there's nothing wrong in asking a referee something.
Yeah.
And from this standpoint, we made huge progresses, very, very big progresses. With tournament organizers, it kind of went the same way. So at first, we started refereeing events because, I'm trying to do this stuff. I would like to do something for the community. I would like to give something back to the community. And they were very accommodating. So I started refereeing that way, basically. And over time, they understood how important it is to have a third party who's not associated with the TO making some important calls, because sometimes you have to, make choices about is the guy cheating or not. It's very rare, but it might happen.
Yeah.
Or has this conversation been too much? Have you crossed the line in being so enthusiastic? Or menacing or just the rule knowledge. It's good to have it separated from the tournament organizer, because again, the tournament organizer might have a team himself.
Yeah.
So it won't look good to be the one calling the shots, having a team at the tournament. So yeah, they understood the value there is in that, and so over time we made huge progresses on that front too. But yeah, we are still developing it. I would say we are still under development. For the first year, we had very few people who were interested in joining the program. I would say basically for the same reason, because there was no culture of what having a referee at events mean. But in the last 6 months, we had a surge in requests. We received one like a few weeks ago. We haven't started training the guy yet, but yeah, I would say that we are on the verge of becoming a real refereeing league.
Yeah.
Real.
Yeah, don't worry about the calling referee culture. It's even in France, the referee core is much older than yours, and still we have some players that are still not wanting to call refs when they have an issue at their table, even though we remind them each event. So yeah, it's something that players still struggle a bit to do sometimes. Not all of them, but some of them. So it's something that's really important, as we all of us three know, because referees are here to make sure everyone has a nice event and enjoys a good game with their opponent, and there is no issue at the table, whether it's cheating, line of sight, or just bad communication between the players. But yeah, calling a ref is something that players sometimes struggle to do, and it's normal that at the start, your community needs to adapt to having refs available to help them with that.
Yeah, and also coming from Magic the Gathering, in which players see the referee, at least in my experience, more as a tool. So it's like there are referees, so we are having an issue. Why shouldn't we call a ref?
Yeah.
I was very bummed by the situation at first, but then I understood it takes time to develop any system, basically. Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah, and sometimes just about that, it takes time, but sometimes it can explode very quickly. Because for example, the French competitive scene, team tournaments, the team league, etc., was smaller before COVID, a lot smaller, and after COVID, it grew exponentially. I will not be able to say it in English.
Exponentially.
Yeah, thanks. But very quickly in 3 years. So it takes time, but sometimes it can be very quick.
Yeah. Once it starts going, it grows very fast. We went from 10 refs to 70 refs in 4 years or something like that.
Oh, fuck. I hope that's not going to happen to me too, but yeah, thank you for the kind words.
And so you started refereing in Italy. So you said
3
2
years.
years ago. Sorry.
3 years.
Yeah, I left alone for like a couple of years, and then I would say at this point 2 years ago we founded the project. So I started refereeing by myself in 2021, and I would say a year and a half ago we funded the project. Yes.
At the kind of the same time, you joined the WTC to ref WTC 2023, if I'm not mistaken. That was your first time refereeing at WTC.
2024 August last year. Yes.
Yeah. Sorry. 2023.
We founded the project like a few months before that. Yes, and that was one of the main reasons I asked to join the WTC, and I wrote it in my application too, because I wanted to learn which are the process involved with creating a good refereeing team in Warhammer. So I was eager to learn and to improve myself.
And how did you? So, like, what did you learn? How did you enjoy the experience of refereeing WTC, and what did you take back from this? Because WTC is a very different event to
Yes.
referee and to participate in.
I liked it a lot for two very different reasons. And I will answer starting from the personal one. So I really loved connecting with other referees who were there for mostly the same reasons. And that was something I had lost since when I was refereeing Magic the Gathering. So when I was a ref for Magic the Gathering, I was a level 1. I tried to become a level 2 at the time. It was a 3-level system, but I quit the game before that. But yeah, the judge community and the player base are two very different environments, at least when I used to be a judge. And I was missing having peers which were there for the same reason as mine, to discuss with and to partake in events with. And so that's one thing I found. I really liked we dined together the last night. I really liked it because it was I found it to be a very welcoming community. And I felt in a way in which I haven't felt for a very long time since quitting Magic as a referee and as a player. So it was very heartwarming, for real. That's the main takeaway I have on a personal level. While on a more professional level, I would say, it's been super amazing to see Jay at work. Also you, Clement. And basically all of you were an inspiration. But yeah, I found it to be amazing what you can do when like-minded people join together in efforts in order to give player the best experience possible. And so I think I learned a lot from the standpoint of organizing the event, of managing the referees at the event. So I would say it's been amazing for two very different reasons, which makes it unforgettable, and that's why I'm applying again this year.
I hope we'll see each other again at WTC this year.
Yeah, it's a plan. I will apply too.
I applied like a month ago because last time, if I'm not mistaken, I applied like the last day or like the day before, and just because Jay reminded me. Otherwise, I was totally going to miss it. So I applied like in January. So
yeah, you were the first one to apply. Jay was not yet looking at like the numbers and everything that you already had applied.
Yeah, but motivation is a good thing.
Yeah, I hope it. Yeah, I hope it's not bad. Like, oh,
No,
look at this guy. What is he doing? I hope it's not like that. Yeah.
Of course not.
Yeah, I would like to be more part of the community while not at the event, but unfortunately, I started teaching 2 years ago, and it takes a lot of your free time. So
yeah, of course.
I would like to be more involved. I am while approaching the event. I'm not as involved as I would like to be during the rest of the year. So that's one thing I guess I could improve.
It's always complicated to manage both personal life, work life, your own community, and then WTC. It requires a lot of time, and it's normal that not everyone has the time to do everything.
Yeah, and it's still a volunteer job, so you don't need to sacrifice your own personal life for it. So it's a balance to find.
Exactly. The famous work-life hobby balance.
Maybe I don't need that much sleep.
Exactly. And after WTC, we started especially with Johan speaking about how French and Italy can work together to build better events, better referee communities, and stuff like that. And so, what for you? What did speaking with Fek and especially with Johan bring to you brought you to the referee corp in Italy?
Yeah, because just as you said when you were talking about the WTC, I share the feeling that it was not my first WTC as a judge, but I share the feeling that it was amazing to meet people that have the same philosophy, the same goal to support their community, to allow the game to be played smoothly with no problem for player, to ease the act of competitive play for everybody, and to have the same mission at heart. And we spoke a lot during the WTC, you and me, with Clement also, and you wanted and I wanted to continue to work together, and so okay. I'm quite I'm quite tired, so my English is very bad. I'm sorry for that.
It's better than most people's English, so
Thanks.
I would say it's still fine. But yeah, so especially having Johan at the Winter Italian Trials 2024 edition was super nice, because it showed people that there is something going on outside of the borders of Italy, and that referees from abroad are not aliens. So it was super helpful to the community, I would say. Jay has been doing that too, but I would say that with Jay, it's sort of different because of the position he held. He held in the refereeing world, so he's the head ref of the WTC, and people instantly, at least at the Winter Italian Trials, he refereed, instantly respected the guy because of this kind of aura he was emanating in knowing the rules like on the top of his head, even though he was very very explanatory with a how do you translate that, with a teaching intent.
Yeah.
So he was super good at it, but I would say that most people respected him kind of automatically. While with you, it's been more like a grounded experience. So people were able to understand that there's other people like me and like Andrea and like Valerio outside of the borders. So that's been super useful. And also, I really believe in the power of connecting refereeing communities from all across the world, because I like to give my players the most international experience I can. So every time, and I bother Johan a lot, every time there is a rule which I would rule in a way, but I'm not sure of the outcome, I always try to reach to someone who's outside of the borders of Italy in order to understand what's going to happen to my players when they do play events from other countries, from neighboring countries. Because again, I would like the refereeing community to become a more coherent community.
Yeah.
So that's one thing I do.
I will say that it's also useful for us because we have now some kind of monster of federation with a lot of referee, a lot of event, a shit lot of people, and things are built since a few years and evolve naturally, of course. But it's always interesting and nice to have an outside point of view, and especially if it's smaller community, smaller structure, because we have our complicated ways, and sometimes there is simpler ways, simpler ideas that work. I say simpler, but not in a bad way. Not in a bad way, of course.
It made me laugh, but I totally understood.
Yeah, and
we are your lab hamster. No, jokes aside, I get it.
And also, it's endearing to have those kind of conversations. We had the same kind of talks with other communities that will most likely present in near future on the channel as well. But yeah, because some questions that you ask yourselves are questions that we asked ourselves mostly during COVID, where COVID was a big turn point from the French community, where we completely changed the league system, the selection process, and the referee corps structure. And so all the questions that newer structure are asking themselves are questions that we we asked ourselves at this time, and which we're really happy to bring our experience and our previous hard nights spent thinking about those subjects to a table. But of course, there is no one solution, and we don't have a perfect solution to the system. We have one that works for us and is not perfect. We're still working on improving it every year, but it's always nice to share those ideas with other people, and to also to get your feedback on how you want to do things and how you like doing things, because that helps us as well to how to improve our own referee corp.
Yeah, because the best system is always the one that works for its community. Because what we have in France works for us, it will probably not work for somebody else. So it's always good to share ideas, to enhance every system, allow them to work together, to switch players from events, allow communication, allow exchange between events, because we have something, you have something, and we can learn from each other, basically.
But yeah, and also, as you wrote in an article for our website, so I'm basically stealing your words, I really do believe in the power of international cooperation.
Yeah.
Because again, I would say it's what the community needs. I guess it's what everybody needs, but specifically to Warhammer, I guess it's what the community needs to become more, to be brought together in order to enjoy one another. Yeah, I really believe in that.
And also, like, that's the perfect time to do so, because with Games Workshop working on the World Championship of Warhammer and everything, like, players are like, the rules of the game are starting to be the same for almost everyone, and even WTC rule set is now very close to the normal rule set, as we said earlier. And so now everyone's starting to play the same game, and so if everyone's playing the same game, we can have the same, like, culture of refereeing and having high quality events all around the world. And with chance, like, now in the near future, player will be able to go to events everywhere they want and still, like, expect the same level of quality of events wherever they are, and there will be no surprises of, oh, okay, in this country they still do gotcha, or in this country they play the runes this way. And there will be, like, a better experience for everyone and more exchange, which is always good, because players can enjoy the community as a whole and not only the ones that are closer to them. So
yeah,
like, that's something we saw in France on a national level, like players going to events across the country, which was not something that was done before. And now we have players like from the south of France coming to the Ogre, so it's the Johan's event in the east, or players from the north of France going to events in the south. And those kind of exchange are possible also because they know that the quality of the event will be like the same all across the country. And so to reach this level on an international level will be even better for player.
Yeah, because the ultimate goal is to allow players to have more occasions, more chances to meet new friends, new players, new tournaments, new events, and just to enjoy the hobby in a broader scale, if they want to, of course, but to have the possibility to.
Yeah, it needs to happen, I would say. And I guess that the best way to make it happen is through referees. Because we are the ones that can. The WTC is the best way to do that, in my opinion, because it's a way in which it waits on nobody balance to meet and share ideas and then make bonds. And so that's one way to start strengthening bonds over the borders. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, we basically we answer rule question and we connect people.
Yeah.
We are reaching 1 hour of interview, and I guess that we spoke about every subject that I think that I thought of. Do you want to I will not find the word. Do you want to speak about another thing, or to conclude the video?
I would talk for hours, but I don't really know on what specific topic. I guess we really talked about most of the things.
Yeah.
So I can leave you guys with the promise. Yeah, I guess that my English is getting all over the place too. Of attending more French events and do whatever we can in order to welcome more French players. Actually, I myself, whatever. Yes, I am myself involved in the organization of a tournament, and we tried to invite some French teams. I would say 3 by now, and one might be joining after all. So it would be super cool.
Yeah.
And that's something on which we are working with.
I'm trying to, and you are trying to convince Ben to bring his team to your event in Genova. And I will, if everything works, but I guess it will work, I will come as a referee if you still want me. So
Yeah, of course I do.
I really want to keep building bridges between different community, and yours is one of it.
That's one oath I can leave you with. Yeah.
And so to the French community, don't be surprised if you see announcements for Italian tournaments on our channels and communication communication channels in the near future.
Yeah, it would be super cool.
We have a lot. We had a lot of good players in the southeast part of France. So we just
That's
need
not
to.
Scary at all. Yeah.
we good people and good players too, but good people.
I was I'm just talking from a gameplay perspective, not scary at all.
And we just need to poke them a little more to send them to you. But I'm pretty sure that it will work. Just to end the video, do you want to speak something in Italian for our French players? They will try to decipher it, maybe or not. Just a final message for fun.
Giocate bene, siate sempre cortesi gli uni con gli altri e fate il possibile per aiutare i vostri amici arbitri in Francia. I would say that's it.
I understood almost nothing.
which is unfair because I do understand French. Like most of what you said in the intro, I was able to understand. So
you're better than me in foreign languages too.
That's bold. That's a bold claim.
But it kind of makes sense because it's internationally known that French people only speak French and bad English.
That's internationally known, yeah.
So thanks again for your time, obviously, and to be volunteer to speak with us. We will, as I said, put subtitles on the video, theoretically, and it will be in YouTube in a few days. So thanks again. We will see very quickly, I guess, in July. Good.
I hope at the last. I hope it's gonna be in August. So
yeah. I hope so.
No later than August.
I hope so, but yeah, I also understand that it's a very competitive event, and then one should master the most competent refereeing team there can be. So maybe I will attend as a volunteer. Maybe I will come join you for dinner.
Cool.
But yeah, so let's say in August at least.
Yes. I will switch in French just to conclude. Merci aussi à toi Clément d'avoir pris du temps pour faire cette interview. C'est toujours plus intéressant de faire ça à plusieurs voix. Et comme ça, on peut échanger un peu plus et on peut développer le propos. Donc la vidéo sera sur YouTube d'ici quelques jours. Le temps soit de mettre tout de suite les sous-titres en français pour que ce soit compréhensible par le plus grand monde, soit d'entrée de jeu et on mettra les sous-titres au fur et à mesure. Et puis voilà, un peu plus tard, du coup, on aura le même format, avec, comme on disait tout à l'heure, avec d'autres représentants d'autres communautés. Spoiler, par exemple, il y aura la Norvège, parce que je me suis déplacé fin d'année dernière également en Norvège pour échanger avec eux sur la création d'un groupe d'arbitres, notamment. Et puis voilà. And if you want to, Orfeo, also make a conclusion in Italian, and we will be done.
Spero che ascoltarmi in inglese non sia stata una tortura. Il mio inglese tende ad essere molto diverso quando parlo con gli stranieri oppure quando vi leggo le regole, ma è sicuramente stata per me un'esperienza piacevole e spero per voi che possa essere stata istruttiva. La nostra comunità è molto bella, i nostri organizzatori si fanno in 4 per fornirvi gli eventi migliori che possono e speriamo che questo possa solo migliorare nel tempo.
Cool. And I will end the video now.